manager for Anthem, and have some information to share with you today on our gym reimbursement program. So I did share my screen. What I have up here is a document that will be new to you, but I think will really help walk through the gym reimbursement process. So just as a quick overview of the gym reimbursement opportunity available for anybody on the Anthem plan, this is up to $400 in reimbursement for gym memberships over the course of your plan year. So that's the calendar year for you folks. So January through December, up to $400. This is available to yourselves as a subscriber. It's also available to anybody else on your plan that's 18 years or over. So that would be a spouse as well as dependents over the age of 18. And that's not a total of $400 for your family. That would be $400, up to $400 for each of you. So if you have yourself and a spouse that are both paying for gym and both going, and I'll go through what you need to do, then you could have potentially up to $800 in reimbursement. So it's a really, really great benefit. It is a reimbursement for the dollars spent. So if you're going to a very inexpensive facility and only paying, say, $10 a month, then you would only get that $120 reimbursed for the year. But if you're paying for a more expensive membership that's more than $400 for the year or up to $400 for the year, you could get that full $400 back. So really, really great benefit. Couple hoops to jump through as far as paperwork. I find it to be very worthwhile. So that's what I'm here for today, is just to help you understand what you need to do, as well as what's available to you as far as the benefit goes. So if you can see what I have shared on the screen here, there are basically three options for how you can choose to engage with the gym reimbursement. You have your traditional fitness centers. So that's when you drive to the gym and you go in, you pay your monthly membership dues, and you attend that facility. We also have virtual or on-demand memberships that are reimbursable now and have been since COVID blessed us all with new ways of working out at home. So anybody that has, for example, a Peloton membership or another app-driven type membership, I know Nordic Track has a lot of those memberships as well. So there's many options. You can be reimbursed for virtual memberships as well. The third, and this is going to be for less of the population, but I will bring it up just because it's available. They talk about it online, so I don't want people to be confused when they see it, is called Active and Fit Exercise Rewards Program. This is a program where you can actually pay directly into this vendor that Anthem partners with. It's $25 up front and then $25 a month. And they have a network of facilities that you could go to. So either if you're already attending a gym that's in their network, or if you find a gym that's in that network, you just pay directly to that program. $25 a month. And once you meet the visit threshold, so once you get 35 visits in a 6-month period, they reimburse you automatically. So it's a super opportunity to not have to do the paperwork. But what I will tell you is, from my experience, the network is not very big. You have a much wider opportunity for, if you're already going to a facility or you don't want to fit into that more narrow network, then you just pay your dues as you would pay them. You fill out the paperwork as you need to, and then you would get reimbursed, rather than it being kind of an automatic process. But I don't want to not talk about that program in case you do come across it, in case you do have a facility that fits in that network. It's very convenient. So then, as far as, so you pick your gym, you go to the gym, you need to exercise 35 times during a 6-month period. So I know I talked about $400 for the year. They break that up into the first 6 months of the year and the second 6 months of the year. So you'd have from January through June, you have up to $200 reimbursed for attending 35 times. And then the second half of the year is the same thing, up to $200 reimbursed for attending 35 times. You can wait until the end of the year and submit for the full year, or you can submit anytime after the end of June for the first half of the year, and then you do have 90 days past the end of your plan year to submit for the full year. So anytime after, you can't submit for months that have not occurred yet. So if you, for example, go to the gym quite often, after February, you've gotten your 35 visits. If you submit in March for January and February, they will only reimburse you for January and February. They won't reimburse you for those 6 months. So unless you're paying more than $100 a month and you've already kind of gotten that $200 spent, you really do want to wait. Even if you've gotten your visits in, you want to wait until the months have passed so that you can get your full reimbursement. And then as far as this document, I will send over you. You want to track your workouts, and your gym may do that for you. Your app may do that for you, or you can just fill out a log and have it signed off, and we have the paperwork for that. You track your workouts. You need to provide proof of payment. So you would submit a receipt or an invoice or a bank statement. So with my own gym, I can just do a search for the gym in my bank statement, and then it just pulls up all the payments, and I can just kind of print it, like do a PDF or something of my bank statement with only my gym charges on it. That works. Whatever you can get that proves that you paid for it. So it's the tracked workouts, it's your receipts, and then it's the gym form that you would fill out, and that has where you would fill out your Anthem member ID and information that connects you to the plan. And then you can submit all of that paperwork. There's an email address, and I believe it's in this document as well. Just trying to see if it was right here. There's an email address, fitness@exerciserewards.com. We'll make sure that you have, I don't even think I just said that right, but we'll make sure you have the email address to submit that to, but you just attach all the PDFs and submit that over to get reimbursed. You typically would get reimbursed within about 4 to 6 weeks of submitting, hopefully sooner than that, but it would come in the form of a check in the mail. So if you've participated in other rewards programs where you've gotten that in the form of a gift card or a rewards card, it's not a part of that program, so it does come to you via a check in the mail. So that's something to keep an eye out for after you've submitted your paperwork, that you will be mailed a check for reimbursement. I think I saw a couple of questions come up in the chat, so let me just kind of scan through that. Can you do 2? So that was one question. So yes, you may do 2 fitness centers, and when you fill out the forms, you can just include both of those. So say you're doing, you're going to the gym, but you also have an app you participate in. You can submit for both of those as long as they both kind of fit the criteria. And then you can add up to that $400 total. You just need to total 35 visits between the 2. And as long as they both qualify and all of that, then you would just submit information for both and you can get reimbursed. Beachbody on demand. Yep, that should work into the virtual reimbursement. So a lot of people do have the Beachbody. I'm not sure exactly how proof of engagement works for all of the virtual memberships, but if you have any kind of app that like marks a dot on the calendar or something that shows that you've worked out, that can tend to work well. They say screenshots of the date that you worked out, so anything like that should work. Somebody recommended, okay, that's just a recommendation, OpenFit, that's probably would qualify. So somebody asked about a class pack. This does get a little bit complicated. Unfortunately, with the punch cards or the 10 class passes or those kinds of things, they do look for a monthly membership fee to be paid to be reimbursed. So those class, like purchasing a certain block or number of classes, tends to not be reimbursable. Now, a lot of times the same facility that does monthly memberships also does the class passes. So it's not necessarily facility by facility. It's just the way that you engage with the gym. So they do look for a regular membership fee to be paid. So that is a good question. There is you'll see some forms linked for you in the chat as well, if anyone isn't looking at that. If you submit an annual request, will you have to do the 35 minutes for each half of the year? They do look at it as 2 6-month periods. So you do have to hit 35 visits during each 6-month period. So if you do all 70 of your visits in the second half of the year, you would only get reimbursed for the second half of the year. Unfortunately, they won't carry that over. So even though we talk about it as a $400 for the year, do think about it as 2 different reimbursements and that you do have to meet all the criteria for each half of the year. Somebody asked about a dance studio membership. There are some, so yeah, dance and Zumba are listed here. So again, it tends to be about the type of facility, and I am going to scroll down. There's some frequently asked questions in this document, but I want to, what is a qualifying fitness center? So I just want to call this area out. So it's somewhere that offers a monthly membership or collects dues. They are open to the public. They have staff oversight. So this is something where somebody's checking people in when they come in. So it's not just like sometimes you'll see a boot camp class in a park, or just like a one-off, like one person is running a studio and there's no staff oversight. Those types of things, that's when they aren't accepted as much as somewhere that you walk in, somebody checks you in for participation, then you go off to work out. They hold regularly scheduled cardio, flexibility, and or weight training programs. That's pretty broad. Something like dance, yoga, all of that stuff fits into that criteria. Or they offer virtual on-demand or live stream workout classes has been added. So a dance studio, as long as it fits into that general membership criteria, would qualify. If we go to a gym that isn't super expensive, yeah, so you still get reimbursed up to the total value of your gym. So if you only spend $250 or $300 for the year on your gym membership, then that means you get reimbursed the entire thing. It's just up to $400. So the total cost of your gym up to a maximum of $400. Yoga studios with monthly memberships qualify. The age does have to be 18 and over. So somebody asked about age requirement. If you do have younger dependents on your plan, they wouldn't qualify for the reimbursement. They do have to be 18 and over. So somebody asked about the Peloton. So like if your Peloton membership is charged to, a spouse's card, but you're the one with the membership, that should not be problematic. I think as long as you're proving that you are the one attending the classes and that you prove that, it's paid for, I don't think it would be problematic if, say, it's your spouse's card that gets charged, as long as, you can prove that you have a membership, that you are working out, and that, it's being paid for. So the 6-month periods are very specific. So somebody asked, you have to wait until January or July, or so you can't submit something that's, say, March through September. I mean, if you do have 35 visits during the first half of that and the second half of that, then they would reimburse for those 6 months, but they would look at it as first, the first half and then the second half. They wouldn't look at that 6-month period as a single period. You would have to meet the 35 visits and all of those things during each of those. So it is 2 very specific 6-month periods. How far back can you submit a reimbursement? So it's up till 90 days past the end of the plan year. So we have passed that point for the previous plan year. And then in the future, you can look back up until roughly the first quarter of next year. So through about the end of March of next year, you can look back for this whole plan year. Some people are answering the questions, so thank you all for answering in the chat that I'm answering out loud. So there's personal trainer has come up as a question. I think this is what this question is kind of getting at. They're paying a monthly membership at the gym and then pay a trainer through that gym. So it can get a little bit, the gym membership itself would be reimbursed. So if you're paying for the gym and you're attending the gym membership would get reimbursed. Personal trainers don't fit into what's considered reimbursable here. So that would be, we would just have to look at kind of what the payment arrangement is. And if you're paying to enter that facility, and then as a part of that payment, you also have access to a personal trainer, then you could probably be reimbursed. But if the payment is specifically for a personal trainer, those often get denied because personal trainers aren't considered to be reimbursable. And if somebody asked about, does the membership have to be active for the entire 6 months? So no, not necessarily. if you've been on the plan since January, then you still have to get your 35 visits on the Anthem plan since January. You would still have to get your 35 visits, but you could do so in 4 months. So if you started a membership in March, and you've got all your visits by the end of June, then you could be reimbursed for those months. You don't have to be active for the entire 6 months. Now, if you're coming on to the Anthem plan later, right, so you don't start on the Anthem plan until March, then both the visit requirement and the payment that they will give you, that will all be prorated by the team. So a little more complicated, and we can talk offline if anybody's like on the plan, and only has a couple of months, but you do have like a partial reimbursement for that partial period, and everything is just prorated. But if you've been on the plan the whole time, then you can just hustle and get all your visits between now and the end of June, and you can still get reimbursed. Orange Theory does qualify. Somebody asked about that. There's no list of qualifying gyms that we have right now. So if you've seen a list, it's probably that Active and Fit network. And that's why I wanted to make sure to talk about that, because that's a smaller network. A lot of people get discouraged if they don't understand the difference between that network and what we will overall reimburse. So if you've seen a list and you haven't seen your gym on it, definitely look into it, because it's probably reimbursable and it's just not a part of the Active and Fit network for that automatic reimbursement. Let's see, just scrolling for, somebody asked if it's best to wait until July, and I kind of answered that already. If you can get your visits in by by the end of June, have at it. You can definitely get reimbursed. Okay, some similar questions. So I think I covered if your app costs more than $400 a year and you and your spouse both use it. So family memberships are reimbursable. If you and your spouse are both on the plan, then you basically have an $800 bucket for that family membership, up to $800. So they can be a little bit trickier as far as getting the paperwork right. And I'm always happy to help. So Alicia, if you want to guide people to me or field questions, and I'm happy to help. But you can get reimbursed for family memberships if you both submitted. So this says if your app costs more than $400 per year. Yeah, so that would be kind of looked at like a family membership, and you can definitely get more than that $400 if you're both on the plan. And you would each have to do 35 visits on your own. You would each have to meet all the criteria. And then you could just submit it for reimbursement for the total thing. Online classes are reimbursable, somebody that joined late. So you can definitely kind of catch up with the paperwork and some of those things. But yes, virtual memberships, since mid-2020, we have been reimbursing, which has been a great addition to our program. So any other questions, anything else that I can review for anybody in these last moments?